Shortly after 8 a.m. on October 24th, 2013, Chrissy Knott gave birth to a boy, Charles. "He sounds like a chicken," she said, as the gurgling infant made himself known to the world. A couple minutes later, a second boy, Thomas, arrived. Knott then looked on as her heavily pregnant sister, Annie Johnston, cradled the babies before carrying them away. Johnston and older sibling Knott had often tended to follow the same path. They'd both attended Ohio University, where they each met their respective husbands, Joby and James. Then they set up home just a few doors away from one another in Delaware County, Ohio. While Knott had two young sons, Oliver and Wendell, Johnson was still waiting for a child to call her own. That's because after getting married in August 2005, she and her husband had decided to hang on for a while before having kids. Then the new year of 2008 arrived and it felt like it was the right time to start trying. Sadly though, nothing happened. You just assume it's going to work out when you want it to work out, but it was not the case. Johnson said of the couple's experience in a video from 2013. Consequently, she and Joby decided to try to boost their chances of falling pregnant. As a result, she underwent IVF treatment. But heartbreakingly, there were still no positive pregnancy tests. Determined to be parents, the couple underwent a further cycle of IVF. And in March 2011, had another 2 embryos transferred into Johnston's womb. Yet still the longed-for positive test proved elusive. The disappointing news was hard for everyone. Watching from the sidelines, Johnston's sister was distraught. As an older sister, I was just devastated, Knott recalled. It was at this point that Knott decided to step in. "I was just thinking, what can I do to help them? You feel hopeless," she explained in the video. "And the only thing I could think of was that if Annie for some reason couldn't get pregnant, and that was what was preventing them from having a child, then I would totally do that for her." However, Knott's proposition to help out by carrying Johnston's child for them was perhaps a little too much for her sister and brother-in-law to take in at first. "When she first offered, we weren't really ready to go that far, to ask her to do anything like that for us," Johnston disclosed. However, her selfless sister was undeterred. At that point in time, it wasn't like, "let's do this now." It was more, "if you ever in the future, if it comes to this, I'd be happy to try and carry a baby for you," Knott recalled. And after further heartache and more negative results, by the summer of 2012, the Johnstons were ready to give it a go. "Last summer, we got to that point and we said, we just want some babies. And if I carry them or someone else carries them, it doesn't really matter. We just want them to be here," Johnston explained. So she emailed her sister to check that she and her husband were serious and cool with the offer. Happily, they were. So with everyone on board, the decision was made to transfer embryos into both sisters at the same time. This way, the chances of a successful outcome would be maximized. And on Valentine's Day 2013, doctors took eggs from the hopeful mom-to-be and fertilized them with Joby's sperm. Then 5 days later, 2 embryos were implanted into Johnston and 2 embryos into Knott. After a little while, the sisters got some great news. Incredibly, they were both pregnant. It only remained to be seen how many embryos had been successful between the 2 sisters. Was it 1 and 1? In other words, was each sister carrying 1 child? Or could it possibly be 2 and 1? Some crazy friends said that it was probably 2 and 2, and we were like, no, it couldn't be. Knott smiled. But the sisters were wrong. At the first ultrasound, there was some exciting news. First up, the medic examined Johnston. Dr. Williams found the first little sac with the flickering heartbeat, Johnston explained, and then he found 1 more. Circling her tummy with her fingers, Knott added, "James looked at Joby and said, 'Whatever's going on there, they're yours.'" And there certainly was something going on. On examining the second sister, the doctor found 2 more heartbeats. "We just laughed," Johnston remembers. "At that point, what do? You go from being so hopeful for something for so many years to having what you're calling a baby explosion." As the pregnancies progressed, the sisters decided to have C-sections on the same day. That meant that technically the babies would be quadruplets. The sisters had already discovered that Knott was carrying 2 boys and Johnson 2 girls. Then after 38 weeks, the big day arrived. Charles and Thomas were delivered from Knott first, giving Johnson time to dote on her sons before it was time for her to go under the knife. And a short while later, Grace and Hadley were born at 9:48 and 9:51 a.m. respectively. After almost 5 years of trying then, Johnson's family was finally complete. Understandably, she was delighted and hinted at some divine help along the way. "We always had hope that God had a plan for us," she said. Meanwhile, after the birth, the busy family enlisted the help of the sister's parents to assist with looking after their brood. As for Not, well, she said she'd been happy to effectively lend her womb to her sister for 9 months, despite the toll it took on her body. "I guess it's a sacrifice as they're renting my body, but to me it's completely worth it," she explained. Neither did Not mind giving away the children she had carried for all that time. "I think of them as my nephews," she said, "and I know I'll be very involved in their lives. It would be harder if they lived far away." Moreover, if the situation had been the other way around, would Johnson have done the same for Not? The thankful mom of 4 said that she would. "When it just comes out of love, you don't really think about the consequences to yourself," she clarified. "You're just trying to help start a family." Furthermore, after more success than they probably had expected, Johnson had no regrets about asking her sister for help. "I was probably a little more relaxed this time because the pressure was off us a little bit," she said. "So I can't say had we not used her, it would have worked out this way."